Hello, my name is Owen, and welcome to a video in which I talk. I talk and I'm standing, a standing video. We haven't had one of those in a while. We haven't had a video in a while where I just talk incessantly about nothing in particular, except we do have a particular topic today. It's just not about a specific book, right? Sometimes I just like to speak, right? And today's topic is this: from where do I get my book recommendations from nowadays? On the surface, a very innocent topic, but once we delve deep into the meat of this question, we got some very interesting answers. Because I think to understand where I'm at now, we must first understand from whence I came. Where did I used to get book recommendations from? Now, there is one constant, right? If you like an author, they release a new book, odds are you're likely to read it. That's just how things work. That's how it worked in the past. That's how it works now. But the main way, and I would say in the past 5 years or so, how I got my book recommendations was from content creators, right? They released top 10 books if you like this book, top 10 books if you like fantasy, top 10 books if you like romance. And those videos are still very much present today. But I feel like the landscape of social media is subtly shifting into a direction. And into a direction that, quite frankly, who knows where it will lead except me. I got my finger on the pulse of society, and that's one thing, right? I feel like specifically book content, I've been a little bit bearish on. I've been watching a lot less of it. I've been kind of disconnecting from it. It's kind of losing my interest. That means a lot of the nuances of the content that's being created nowadays, I really don't have an idea of what's being published because I'm not engaged, especially book talk, short form, really short video content. I used to be recommended a lot, but I just scroll past it so fast at a lightning speed. It doesn't even try to show me anymore. Even though literally my entire channel is talking about books and hashtagging book talk and hashtagging booktube and whatever the overlords tell me to do, it does not even try to give me book content. And that maybe that's because, quite frankly, I don't watch a lot of YouTube Reels, YouTube Shorts, YouTube Shorts on this channel. I have a separate channel where I have my own thing. That's probably the main reason, but what I'm trying to say is I don't watch a lot of booktube content, short form, especially short form. So I don't really know what the trends are, what are the popular books. I kind of lost my thing on that. That being said, the books that they're talking about, a lot of times I get recommended from people in real life. So it's very much still a phenomenon where Book Talk recommends books that become popular. They're in the front of the Barnes & Noble, they're front page of Amazon, and it's buy the sequel to the book of the vampires and they suck the toes of the werewolves, right? It's all still there, right? I still very much see it. But in terms of long form content, I feel like there's a shift. And I think that me losing interest, not to say that I'm the center of the universe, me losing interest, I feel like is caused by a trend that is either in the middle of it or it's going to start and I'm a trendsetter. But here's what I'm trying to say. I used to watch a lot of videos from creators I wasn't subscribed to, right? Where it'd be top 10 ranking books, stuff like that. There's still the ranking videos, my top 10 favorite books of the year. But those videos, I'm not watching them unless they're creators that I already subscribe to. So I feel like it's not a way I get recommended books. It's more I'm attached to the personality, right? The creator themselves. What are they enjoying? I'm just more personally invested in it. Less so I'm looking for books from these videos nowadays. Because quite frankly, there's too many books out there. If you give me a list of 20, maybe one will make it to the list. The lists are just too long, right? And I just feel not that the content creation as a whole is going downhill, but it's taking a trend that is slowly losing my more interest and making my subscribe more valuable, or I'm increasing its value in the sense that I used to be subscribed to 20, perhaps near 30 booktube creators, right? And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't watch enough content to justify that. So I've been cutting it down. I think I'm subscribed to maybe 10, maybe 8, maybe 7. And I just watch the occasional videos that piques my interest. Oh, what are they talking about here? Oh, I just want to check in with these guys. What was their reading month like? Be interested to find out. I'm not going out there. I'm not watching every booktube content. I'm not deep in the weeds of it. And I just feel the landscape is changing a little bit. And I know what you're thinking. You don't get recommendations from booktubers anymore? Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Who are you supposed to be then? And now listen, I know what you're thinking. I am the thing that I say is dying, and yet I still persist. Curious. I feel like I'm unique in the sense that I'm not incredibly good at what I do. In the sense that I don't have like that instinct for like, not clickbait, but like what will reach the masses, right? What will explode out into the universe, right? Because if you search like BookTube in YouTube, it's less so like even book recommendations now. What's like really getting the clicks is like I like challenges, right? I read 42 books in 72 hours. How is that possible? I quite frankly have no idea. Or it'll be like, 24-hour read books challenges that were recommended on TikTok challenge, in parentheses challenge. Like it's like time trials, it's like marathons, book marathons, like reading a lot of books in a short amount of time. It's like the Mr. Beastification of BookTube, right? It's doing absurd things with reading rather than about the reading itself. And I think that's because of what I'm saying, right? Because people aren't searching for book recommendations from strangers anymore, right? And if you have someone like me who's spending less time watching book content, the number of people that you even watch at all starts to shrink, right? So how do I survive in this landscape? Quite frankly, it doesn't matter, right? I'm like a cockroach because I'm so like under the radar that even if all the big ones are like, you lose all your money, right? You can't make a living from YouTube anymore. Newsflash, I never started. You can't kill me. I'm just doing this for my own entertainment because I love the sound of my own voice. And I feel like one thing too, and maybe this is the reason why I'm not very good at making like big time videos. I feel like I'm like the voice of the people. You know what I mean? I feel like my thoughts are in line with like the common everyman, which is why I feel like I'm kind of getting bearish. I'm kind of not really like loving like the current state of like wider BookTube. Not in the sense like I hate it, it's ruining reading. I've lost the ability to read because of BookTube, which is the other popular form of video, is if you watch a video and simply lose the ability to read. Which strangely enough, I did watch a video last night and I couldn't read for 8 hours because I was asleep. Someone should explore that possibility. Maybe BookTube makes you sleepy. Sleepy, you can't read. Someone make a video on that. But it's either about BookTube itself, these videos that are huge, or they're about these challenges, or they're just like ranking like the most popular books on another social media, like the most popular TikTok books. You know, and it's always going to be like that, where the mass audience is like the most generic, most fluffy type things. But I feel like as the voice of the everyman, and I'm talking so much, I haven't taken a breath in like 3 minutes. Because I feel like the voice of the everyman, I feel like people might agree with me that we're not necessarily going here for recommendations anymore, right? And maybe that's why those videos are so popular. We're just looking for more like the drama, the content, the atmosphere, the excitement, the adrenaline. And that's, as to say, in summary, 8 minutes later, I don't get recommendations from booktubers anymore. Full stop. Even the ones that I like, I'm watching your ranking videos, I'm really not writing your books down on a list, not putting them on my TBR. And I used to do that almost exclusively. And there's a couple of reasons for that, why I shifted away. Number one is my book of the month. My book of the month. Because I'm a creator, I get access to recommendations for free, right? You guys give them to me for free. And that's been gone really well. I think I've done it 3 times now, 4 times perhaps. And those have all been great books. So I've been reading at least one of those books a month. And then in general, like I said, authors I like release new books, although I haven't read a repeat author in a while. Like I'm reading the Dune series, but that's not really what I'm talking about here. But it's really just like based on pure instinct at this point. Like they opened a bookstore near me. And it's a translated bookstore, which means that I don't know any of the books. They're translated into English, by the way, because I can't read any other language. But this is a French book that I found. It's called The Skin of Dreams. And the back is about a guy who daydreams 100 other possible lives. Sounds very artistic, sounds very French, because it is. And I have no idea if I'll like it, but I just saw it. I'm like, you know what? This is a book I'm going to read. And all the books on my shelf back here are either books that you guys told me you liked or just like I've just seen them on the shelf. And I'm like, okay, we're going to read those. And like I said, lists are so long, TBRs are so long, and I'm not an impulsive book buyer like many creators are. They got the funds, I guess, to just buy hundreds of books that anyone's ever mentioned ever. But really, I'm more selective in that way, and I still build up a list, which means I'm not always looking for recommendations, which is why if you watch a lot of content, sometimes at a certain point, the list maxes out, right? And if I'm not watching content, it maxes out even quicker because I'm just maxing out on my own, and my own tolerances, I guess, is lower. But the other way that I get recommendations, and I think the biggest way that it's shifted for me is, and this is a benefit of me doing this channel, me talking about books more often, is because I in the past 6 months, 8 months or so, I started reading more of those popular books, delving into territories that were a little bit more mainstream. I was able to strike up conversations with people in real life about these books. And I know everyone likes to punch down on the popular TikTok books because everything's popular, and you don't like popular because it makes you not as hipster, right? But those books have really opened the door to conversation about types of books. And even though a lot of people I talk to have different tastes in real life, have different tastes than me, we can usually find a common ground. Like one of my coworkers likes to read a lot of romance, likes to read a lot of really run-of-the-mill, the equivalent of a Hallmark movie type books, literally such fluff, right? Horrible taste, in my opinion. But he also really likes Daphne du Maurier, right? So that's something we connected on. And he goes, oh, well, this book's kind of like Daphne du Maurier. You should check it out. And then you know what? That's how you find recommendations. Then you find a common ground and you explore that. And then you get great recommendations from that as well. So I think one of the benefits of BookTube and exploring BookTube content is not just exploring the niches of your genre, it's exploring outside your comfort zone, which I feel like is not something that the community is leaning towards. It's leaning towards more nicheness. It's leaning towards more sectionalization of genres, right? This is a fantasy channel, this is a sci-fi channel, this is a romance channel, this is a book talk recommendations only channel. And I understand why they do that. That's how you get an audience, and especially if subscribers are being more rare or more valuable to give. You got to niche up a little bit. You got to appeal to a more dedicated audience rather than a wider audience. I feel like that's the trend, at least in my opinion. And that's another reason why I'll never die, is because I'm just not good at, you can't keep me in a box, right? I'll just read whatever I want, whenever I want, which means I won't grow at a lightning speed, but which means that, I'll probably burn out a lot. I wouldn't say a lot slower, because some people are making a lot of money on YouTube, but it will be harder for me to burn out, because also I'm not on a pressure timetable of a video a week, 2 videos a week, even though I probably should do more, because sometimes I just don't think about it at all, if I'm being honest with you. And I feel like the people that are around here a lot, you guys know me. I'm a silly guy, right? But we have like a back and forth. You guys know what I like. I know what you guys like. I know what you guys engage with. Sometimes I give it to you. Sometimes I just give you something that you're like, why? When did I ask? And you know what? You have the right to say, I'm just simply not going to click that one. And it's fine. But in general, I feel like, there's so many creators, the ones that exploded really fast, that achieve a great level of success, like acclaim, subscriber numbers, probably monetary, I would imagine as well. But then they burn out because they kind of get locked into their niche. And then reading becomes a job, which I think is what inspires all these videos of is BookTube killing reading? It's killing reading for you because you've made it your job as a creator. But I feel like for regular people, it's just not that deep, And I get it. They're in an echo chamber of if it's their job or it's their biggest hobby, they feel like it's more important. It's more proportionally important to their life. So these trends do matter. And the Mr. Beastification of video challenges, not every creator would want to make those, because it kind of takes the focus away from what you're reading, but instead of it turns it into how you're reading it, which is not content that I'm interested in, which means I watch less BookTube, which means I get less recommendations from that, which means I just get recommendations elsewhere. Content goes down and only those challenges go up. It's a snake eating its own tail. Right? It's going to catch up, and eventually there's either going to be a shakeout where it's just everyone's in their own niche, watching niche videos all day long, don't watch any other content, or it's just going to die out, like all of us one day. Was this video really about what I said it was about, or was this about something grander, more vague perhaps? We'll never know. But be sure to like and subscribe if you like the video, if I said anything interesting at all, and as always, thanks for sticking around.